Hey guys, you're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the smoothie that I make for myself, both as a large part of my diet and also as a vehicle for large amounts of bioavailable proteins for when I've been working out quite a bit. Now, as you'll see, the first ingredients that I'm putting in are bee pollen, the juice, vegetable, and fruit concentrate powder, and the hemp protein that I've shared with you guys in the past as really good dry storage options to really pad out your storage and fill out some of the gaps in our prepper pantries. Things like rice and beans and a lot of the common prepper mainstays really don't provide all of the protein and various nutrients that we get from our fresh food diets nowadays. So it's really important to make sure that you have sources, bioavailable sources of micronutrients and things like protein, preferably from plant based sources, both for their longevity and for the trace nutrients that they provide, so that you don't end up with the deficiency diseases that we talked about in past videos, like beriberi or scurvy, or the various different things that you'll get when trying to subsist on just limited sources of food. Now, this smoothie is something that I made both to give myself a good protein and energy boost when I've been working hard and going to the gym a lot, and also to give my body some great nutrient reserves so that if the day comes when I'm forced to live off of my oatmeal and beans and rice and all the things that I have stored, not only will I have these other nutrient sources in my storage, my body will also be as healthy as it could be at the outset of these emergencies, so that I'm full of vitality for as long as possible when trying to live off of limited sources of food. You're going to have a real advantage if you live off of this really energy and nutrient dense food nowadays over somebody who's just living off of McDonald's and other things which have had all of their nutrients processed out if they even had them in the first place. Now, real quick, as you can see, what I've done here is taken all of the dry ingredients and mixed them with water, because if you don't do this, they're just going to suck all the water right out of the juice that you're using to make the smoothie. So I find it best to get all your powders, your oatmeal, and those things in with some water, chop them up a little bit, and get them soaking. Then I get my fruit and my other ingredients and add them in. Now, again, I want to really stress how important it is to be as healthy as possible now, because I think some people do have this mentality that they'll harden up and lean out whenever the emergency comes. And I have in the past sort of thought like that, that when the day comes, it will sort of forge us into a harder version of ourselves. And I can tell you that that is definitely the case when you find yourself working hard in the woods for a long period of time and stuff like that. But it's important to remember that being in an emergency situation won't necessarily be like taking a job where you're working outside or going camping for a week, where you have a modicum of comfort each night to relax and you're not necessarily as stressed out as you will be in an emergency situation. In emergency situations and during crises, you won't necessarily have the luxury of recuperating each day or having a healthy diet to help you have the calories and nutrients to adapt to your new surroundings. And so that's why I think that it's important to not only be as physically fit as you can be nowadays, but also to make sure that your diet is taking care of all your nutrient needs and building up the reserves of all the vitamins and nutrients that it can, all of the fat soluble nutrients and various things that your liver and parts of your body are able to store for long periods of time. And also to make sure that you have reserves in your storage of water soluble vitamins like vitamin C, so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you can't figure out why you don't have enough energy or why people are getting sick in your group because they're not getting all of the nutrients that they need, and now their body is wasting valuable calories and other nutrients being sick. So it's very important to take care of your health and to prep for your nutrient needs during emergency situations and not just aim for having 1,000,000 empty calories. So for a brief list of the things that I've put in here so far, I have put in bee pollen, hemp protein powder, a vegetable source protein mix, a juice, fruit and vegetable concentrate powder, some oatmeal, some juice, which is a cranberry pomegranate blend, some Greek yogurt, a berry medley including raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and strawberries, a whole kiwi minus the pits, and a banana and a decent amount of spinach. Now, in a minute, as it's spinning, I'll add a decent, well, a good large amount of honey. I really like honey, and I've got no problem splurging on it as a source of sugar because I'm of the opinion that your body can process that a lot more easily than table sugar, and it's not as bad for you. But I will point out this is a pretty sugar rich recipe, and that's not something that a lot of people want to go in for. But because it is all naturally fruit sourced, I don't mind it, but I do factor it in with my dietary consumption of other things throughout the day. Now, this smoothie can be a little bit thick and a little bit chunky, especially if you start adding in some other sources of greens and fruits or more oatmeal. But especially if you have the ratio of juice right, it can be very pleasant, and I find the taste to be very enjoyable. And this gives me more than enough energy to go throughout the day pretty much without any other kind of meal. Sometimes I like to have a little bit of bread or something else to fill out my stomach, maybe a salad. But when it comes to energy and vitality, this stuff is like jet fuel. Sometimes it makes you shiver a little when you're drinking it, probably because it does have a lot of sugar in it. But you can almost feel the energizing effect that it has because in my mind your body can tell whenever you're getting all of this nutrient dense food compared to the somewhat hollow foods that a lot of us are used to eating. And I'll admit, in a lot of my everyday diet, aside from my salads and stuff, I don't necessarily eat a lot of really good food unless I have the time to sit at home with a home cooked meal with the rest of my family, and that's not always very often. So, anyways, I like to have this because it has a lot of all the macronutrients that you need, including fiber, protein, and carbs, in a very bioavailable nature, so that I can just drink this and have the confidence of knowing that, along with some other foods throughout my day, I'm providing myself with a lot of the things that my body needs to be very healthy and also to stay that way for a while into the future. Now, this mix makes a lot and it lasts me for days, especially because it does dry out a little bit in the jar. And so I thin it out a little more with juice along the way. And so just blending this and keeping it in the fridge for a while provides me with a replacement for actually quite a few meals because I really am not hungry for anything else whenever I'm drinking this often. So, although there is a fair bit of investment in setting up all of these ingredients, A, all of them are things that I would like to have around in a collapse type situation, and especially the dry ones are things that I purchase to stock up for ahead of whenever I run out. So it's really not a lot of skin off my back to have all this stuff around. And it does save me money because drinking just a few gulps of this makes me not want to stop for fast food whenever I'm out late at night and I'm really hungry after the gym. So, all in all, this is something that I thought I wanted to share with you guys, and I hope that it's helpful for some of you. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there, everybody.